What's going on, y'all? Man, I'm over here in Wood River, Nebraska, getting a PM done on my truck. I got a load. Well, I'm up under a load right now that I'm taking over to Carthage, Missouri, and then I'm gonna drop that load. Then I'm gonna head on over to Arkansas, pick up a load over there. Then I'm gonna bring that back down to Mariloma, California, which is cool. I asked him. I said, "Hey, I'm 450 miles or so away." I said, "Will they take me today?" I said, "I basically can be there this afternoon. They get me offloaded, then I can head on over to Arkansas and get loaded and head on back." And they were like, "Well, you can go, and if someone's not there, they might take you." And I ain't taking that gamble because at this point, what I can basically do is do a 34-hour reset, and that's what I'm doing. Since they kind of gave me that ultimatum, so you know what, it's cool. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a 34-hour reset. I wake up uh, tomorrow morning by 7, get going. My appointment time ain't until 2100 tomorrow night, so I got more than enough time to do a reset. So that's what I'm gonna do. I want to talk to you guys about car hauling and the different positions, what the positions are called on a car hauler, and how your car should be situated or how they should be positioned, meaning should that position be driven on or should be backed on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. All right, so let's talk about it. All right, so I know everybody's like, man, car hauling is so cool. I want to do car hauling. How do you get into it? It's hard to get into car hauling. I'm just going to tell you. A lot of people out there, they're like, we want you with 2+ years experience of trucking. Then they say we want you to have at least 2 years of car hauling experience. Now that's not for every car hauling company. You just got to keep reaching out there and reaching. When I wanted to get into car hauling, I reached out to Selland the first time and they denied me. They was like, "You don't have no experience. You don't have no car hauling experience. We ain't taking nobody right now that we can train." So I was like, okay. So I called them back about a year later. Things changed. They took me. They provided me with training, and that's how I got into car hauling. You got to be persistent. You got to call and ask, call and ask, call and ask, keep calling back, and you got to speak to different car hauling companies, see what they say, what are their requirements, will they give you training? Because think about it, they don't send you to no training school. They really got to pull a seasoned car hauler out of his truck and put him in the truck with you for 4 to 6 weeks, and so he can give you really hands on hands, eye on, let's do it for real, make deliveries, car hauling. That's my review and kicking off. So yeah, it's some big stuff. Now there are other companies who will say, okay, when we give you training, we're going to pair you up with a trainer. He's going to be in his truck, you're going to be in your truck. When he go and load, you going to go and load. When he going off load, you going to go and off load. That to me is kind of risky because that trainer is paying more attention to getting his truck loaded and getting his stuff secured, and then he's gonna walk over there, help you get your truck loaded, get your stuff secured. He probably gonna tell you 1, 2 times how to back it in, how to drive it in. Then he gonna go back to his stuff and try to do his stuff. If he doing stuff like that, nah, that's too risky. That's too, you make that's too much room for damage, for mistakes. When I was doing my training, Alan, my trainer, was right there in my face. He was right there beside it, looking at the truck or car as I was driving it on or as I was backing it up. I had eyes on him and eyes on what I was doing. He was telling me, "Stop, come on, go back forward. Hey, look where your front tires are. Hey, look where your rear. Hey, you off track." He was telling me, you can't train somebody, and if this how companies are doing it, that's wrong. But you can't train nobody and then walk over there and do your stuff and then leave that new person over there to try to load a car hauler. Oh Lord, no, man, please. It ain't that easy. All right. But let's talk about the positions. When you guys look at a car hauler and you see all them 7, 8, 9 cars on there, 9 and 10, which are probably the max. The norm is 9. And you guys are seeing they driven on, they backed on. There's a reason why they're driven on and backed on. In the number one position, right above your mirror, right above your head, right there. That's the number one position. that car will always have to be backed on from the street or from the end of the trailer all the way back into the number one position. It's got to be backed on. All right. The only reason it don't have to be backed on is if the manufacturer or the company say, hey, we want it driven on because we've noticed that due to the high wind, it causes the mirrors to flop or break, or it causes the gas tank to come open or something like that. Okay, so that's the number one. And it's the same on Boyston trailers and on Cottrell trailers. So the number one position is right here. Usually that truck or that car will always have to be backed into that position. Next, the position right in front of that. So if I back that on, the next car that I put on is going to be the number two car. That position is always going to be driven on. This is the cool part about it. When I had my Boyston trailer, the number two position never moved, right? So when I drove on the number two car truck, it was bumper. It was bumper to bumper, almost just like this right here, right? So the thing is, that number two position on the old Boyston trailer, Boyston is old, they don't make Boyston trailers no more. That position, so my number one, it backed on. The Boyston trailer, on the Boyston trailer, the car in the number two position, this is what it did. The only thing it did, it went up. It went up. That's what it did. It went up. It made room for the car that's going to be behind the cab, which is the number six position. So Boyston trailer, that number two position just went up on the one that I had. There are some that do move. When I got the new Cottrell trailer, that position, this is what it did. It went up, and it also moved forward, and it moved back. That's the best you can do right there. It don't get no better than that. Because when I got loaded and I was evening everything out, it was like you had a lot of room when you load the trailer. I mean, it was like, dang, that's a lot of room. So after I got finished loading and securing the number two position, I just went ahead, pulled it up some. I raised it, so I can put my number six in there. After I brought it back down, set it, then I slid it forward. Where I can see where I wanted it. Then I stopped. Then my number six position, I just loaded the number two right down where I needed it and locked the pins in place, and that was it. Okay, so you load number one, it's backed on. Number two is driven on. Now we still loading the top deck. So we got 3, 4, and 5 positions to go. So in the number 3 position, so you got 1 backed on, 2 driven on. Your number 3 position, which is going to be on the trailer itself. This portion, positions 1, 2, and 6 is on the tractor. Okay, so if I disconnect my tractor from my trailer, 1, 2, and 6 is on the tractor itself. 3, 4, and 5, 7, 8, and 9 is on the trailer. Okay, it's on the trailer. So in the number 3 position, you're gonna back it on. Right, you're gonna back it on. So you got 1, 2, 3. So 3 is gonna be backed on. All right, and then number 4 is gonna be driven on. Again, you're gonna have them bumper to bumper. And then number 5 is gonna be driven on. All right. Now this could change depending on the size of the vehicle, but for the norm, for the basic setup, that's how it goes. So let's look at it again. 1, backed on. 2 position, driven on. 3 position is backed on. The 4 position is driven on. Okay? The 5 position, driven on. All right? So let's move on down to 6, 7, 8, and 9. This is the lower deck. So my number 6 position. So now that I got everything loaded on the top deck, now what you got to do, you got to go back. You got to raise up number 2, raise up the trailer deck on 4, on 3, 4, and 5. You got to raise them all up because now we got to fill up. We got to load the bottom deck. Okay, so once everything is all raised, because you got to get your clearance, you don't want to scrape and run over nothing. You want to make sure everything is even on the bottom deck so you can drive on or either back on. So in the number 6 position, right behind the cab, it's backed on. Okay, so from the deck again, all the way from the street, you setting everything up, you even everything out, all your tie straps, you moving everything out the way. You moving them all out the way, because the last thing you want to do is back on or drive on and rest your car on top of that strap. Now you got to go back and move again, get out and try to move the strap out the way you sitting on it. Or, you know, a lot of times what some people do, they'll load everything, then they'll go back and they'll secure everything. I learned to, when I worked on positions 1 and 2, after I got them loaded and set up, I secured them. They were already done, so I never had to go back to them no more. And then when I loaded up everything else on that deck, I went back and I secured it, right? Some people load, they secure. They load, they secure. And then they just go back around again and just double check everything. But anyway, the number 6 position is backed on. All your tire straps are all out the way, so you backing on the number 6. All right, that finishes everything for the tractor. All right, so here we go. We're going to number 7. Number 7 position is going to be driven on. Number 7 is going to be the first car at the bottom that's on the trailer itself. So you're going to drive it on. You got to make sure you got this car positioned right, because 2 things can go wrong. If you pull too far forward when your trailer is turning, like right here, because you can't do a 90, you only can do about a 45, because you don't want that bumper on that car in the number 7 position to get crushed up in that turn by your tractor, because it can happen. Okay, so it's got to be set right. You got to have that spacing right on that number 7 position. So you driving on number 7. We're going on to number 8. Number 8, you're gonna back number 8 on. So as you back number 8 on, everything is still even, but you back number 8 on almost to the bumper of the number 7 car. Because what's gonna happen is, and you guys seen one of my videos, that number 8 car, what's gonna happen is you're gonna lower number 7 gonna go over to the deck. You're gonna lower number 8 just like this. It's gonna go down, and it's gonna go down in the front some. Okay, it's gonna go down. That way you give more clearance, so when you bring down your top deck, everything can clear and even out. So you at bridge height, you low enough to get up under any bridge, and you don't have any problems. So let's move on over to the number to the last position, which is the number 9. Your number 9 position always gonna be driven on. It's gonna be driven on just like this. After the number 8 is lowered and set, the number 9 is gonna be driven on. It's gonna be facing the bumper. The only thing you really gonna do with number 9 has options too. It can raise, it can lower, and it can raise too, and it slides. But the pads where your rear tires are sitting on, they slide. They can move the truck. They'll move that car truck back and forth how you need to move, so you can put your tire wraps on and secure it. Once you have it loaded like that, you all good. Let's review it one more time. In the very, very top position over the cab, number 1. Right in front of the number 1 is backed on. Right in front of number 1 is number 2. It's driven on. Number 3 is backed on. Okay. Number 4 is driven on. Number 5 is driven on. Okay. Below that, right behind the sleeper or the cab, is number 6. It's backed on. Right in front of the number 6 is your number 7 position. It's driven on. Right by your number 7 is your 8. That's backed on. And the last car that you put on is your number 9. Is driven on. At this point, what you can do, you can start going around. Start from your number 6 position on the passenger side. Start securing everything. Me, what I did was, when I had 1 and 2 set, and I loaded and it was already secured, and I loaded number 6, I went ahead and secured number 6, because my tractor is done. Not only that, I can go ahead and lower my number 2 position. I can go ahead and space it forward. I can go ahead and sit it where I need it sitting over the windshield of that number 6 car or truck, and I was done. Then I went ahead and put all my securement on my tires, all my tire straps on them, secured them and torqued them down on both sides, and I was done. So at this point, now we just totally working on the bottom deck. So you can go around, start securing everything, because at this point, everything is at height. You ain't moved nothing yet. Everything's at height. It's easy to get to. You can secure it, tighten it, work your way around, come back around again. Guess what? Now it's time to start setting stuff. lower that number 7 position, set it where you want it. Go to that number 8 position, bring it down, bring that bumper down, make sure that bumper ain't touching the front bumper or the rear bumper of that car in front of it, or that the bumper to bumper. Make sure them 2 bumpers ain't touching each other when you lower that number 8. Okay, it's secured. Go ahead, go to your number 9, secure all your tires, get it set like you want it. Then you go around that first skid on your passenger side, you pick it up, you slide it in, you lock it in place. You move over to the next skid that's on your driver's side, you pick it up, you slide it in, you lock it in place. You going around, you hit them tires on that driver's side, you start securing the tires on that driver's side, lower deck, get everything like you want it. Once everything is secured, come back around again. At this point, this is when we start to lower stuff and starting to get our height right. Once you get that done, now we're starting to drop our pins in place, hit our pins in place. On this side, go around, make sure the same number pin on the passenger side is set for the same number of pins on your driver's side. So when you lower it, basically what's going to happen is that upper deck is going to hit that pin and lock it in place. It's going to rest on that pin right there. So when you're going down the street and it's bumping and moving, it ain't sliding. It ain't sliding down and cracking on top of that car below it. All right, y'all. I know it seems like it's a little long video, but like I told you, car hauling ain't no joke. It's not the easiest work, but once you get it set and you figure out your routine and you have it all set, you'll be good to go, y'all. I hope this helped, man. If y'all got any questions, man, don't hesitate to ask. For each one, teach one. If God be for you, who can be against you? Nobody. Y'all take care. Bye.